Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q4 and FY22 conference call of Prudent Corporate Advisory Service Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star and 0 on your touchtone phone. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Rahul Jaju from Dickinson World Private Limited. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Jaju.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to everyone present here for the Q4 and financial year 2022 Prudent Corporate Advisory Services Limited. I would like to remind you that today's remark might include forward-looking statements and actual results may differ materially from those contemplated by forward-looking statements. Any statements we make on this call today are based on our assumptions as on date, and we have no obligation to update these statements as a result of new information or future events. Today, we have with us the management of Prudent Corporate Advisory Services Limited, represented by Mr. Sanjay Shah, Chairman and MD, Mr. Shirish Patel, CEO and Whole-Time Director, Mr. Chirag Shah, Whole-Time Director, Mr. Chirag Kothari, CFO, and Parth Parekh, Investor Relations. I would now like to invite Mr. Sanjay Shah to make his opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rahul, and good afternoon to everybody. I'm just giving warm welcome to everybody. This is the first analyst meet of the call post listing of Prudent. And when I'm talking about the entire financial year result, let me tell you, overall financial year 22 has been absolutely an outstanding year for us on all the parameters. So before I proceed the presentation, we have already uploaded all the presentation copies and the financial results on the websites of exchanges as well as on our website. So I assume everybody is having this copy handy. So whenever I'll give you a reference to the slides which I'm going to talk about. So I'll request all of you to go to the slide number 3, which is basically giving the synopsis of where we are as far as mutual fund distribution business is concerned. So if you look at, as on 31st March, our asset under management was almost about 49,473 crore, which has gone up by 60.4% year on year, which has been a very, very robust growth. And important milestone I'll tell you about that within this total AUM, equity AUM is almost 92%. If you look at another significant numbers for us, which represent our retail strength, is the number of live SIPs which we manage through our large network. So that number was 16.37 lakhs as on 31st March. And through those 16.37 lakh SIPs, we collect 418 crore per month. So if you annualize this 418 crore multiplied by 12, that number comes to 5,016 crore. And that shows a very, very strong sustainability of the flow which we continue to receive on the investment front. And that 5,016 crore, if you divide by 14,473 crore of my total AUM, that comes to almost about 10.14%. That's the visibility of the flow which we have. And I can tell you that we have a very unique business model wherein we are associated with 23,763 mutual fund distributors whom we term as our channel partners on 31st December. And I can tell you we continue to see a very strong acceptance of mutual fund distributors joining Prudent platform. The number which is 23,763 in March 22 was 16,853 just before a year. So almost 7,000 people have shown confidence of joining our platform. So if you look at, because of our retail strength as far as CAMS ranking is concerned, today we are marked number 3rd as far as managing the retail assets are concerned. And as I already told you that in the total AUM or equity AUM is very, very large. Hence, if you look at our share in the equity AUM in the industry has moved from 1.5% in 2018 March to 2.32% in March 22, which has been a robust growth overall. So that is all about the mutual fund. If you look at the slide number 4, I think other than the mutual fund distribution, insurance is a very significant business for us. It's a material subsidiary of Prudent Corporate, and we do the business of insurance in the name of Gennex Insurance Brokers. So last year in FY22, we did a total premium of 254 crore, which includes 111 crore of fresh premium. And through this 254 crore of premium, we collected 36 crore of commission. If you look at the bifurcation of commission, 25.85 crore comes from life insurance business and 10.23 crore comes from general insurance business. And I can tell you within the general insurance, we have a very strong retail book of health insurance, which shows our strong commitment to the retail business. I think another important factor I wanted to highlight as far as our insurance business is concerned, that we have almost 6,803 point of sale registered with us who help us in mobilizing the business. So this is broadly the synopsis of the business. I would love you to take you to page number 6, which talks about our key financial highlights of 21-20. So apart from AUM number which I talked about, I think last year's gross inflow was very, very robust. So we had 16,828 crore of gross inflow which was positive by 57.6% compared to previous year. If you look at revenue, I think our concentrated revenue grew by almost 57.2, which includes all the businesses. But within that, mutual fund has grown rapidly at 64.4%. I would highlight one point as far as our mutual fund revenue is concerned. As all of you are aware about that, it's a trail and a recurring revenue nature, which gives a very consistency and the predictability of the top line as far as P&L is concerned. If I tell you about the operating profit, I think operating profit has gone up significantly higher by 86% in current year to 115 crore, which has helped us in improving our operating profit margin from 21.6 to 25.6%, which is an improvement of about 400 basis points. Our cash profit has grown very, very healthy by 75.5% to 93.7 crore. So that is also a very remarkable thing for us. If you look at return on equity, I think in spite of being 28.7% on FY21, we improved that number by another 500 basis points to 33.8%, which is a very, very satisfactory number. So I think these are the key financial highlights. If you move to page number 7, I think one important milestone for Prudent in its career was the acquisition of Karvi's mutual fund distribution business. And last year, we acquired the entire mutual fund assets of Karvi, which were auctioned by exchanges, and we were the highest bidder. We paid 150 crore plus GST for acquiring all the assets. After all the due diligence and all the processes, entire assets transferred to our code on 28th of November. So if you actually look at the our business as well as the granularity of Karvi, I think it's a very significant April-to-April business which was available to us for the acquisitions, and the Karvi business was also very, very strong retail and the granular. So what we acquired by paying 151 crore was we got 8,092 crore of total AUM, wherein that 90% comes from equity. So if you look at the data of Prudent and if you look at the data of Karvi, more or less it is similar. We acquired almost 33.87 crore of SIP book. We got 1,63,000 live SIPs through Karvi. We got 4,81,000 investors and 8,58,000 folios. So I think it was a very great acquisition for us. I think that shows that we could be able to utilize, because before that significant cash was available on the balance sheet of company. Fortunately, we were not required to leverage the balance sheet because entire cash was available, and that has been very, very effectively used for acquiring the Karvi assets. And one point I just wanted to highlight, which is important from the point of Q4, because say the entire Karvi assets came in our code on 28th of November. However, we got the entire month revenue from all the mutual fund company. So when we got the brokerage हमें मिला था पूरे नवंबर महीने का, from 1st November to end of the month. But in the month of March, which I am precisely at about 27th of March, we got the communication from ANC saying that they will claw back the 1st November to 28th November की जो हमें brokerage मिली थी वो claw back करेंगे. So if you look at the Q4 number, there is one-time adjustment which has happened. So whenever I'll come to that, I'll just try and give you the explanation for that. So I think this is all about the numbers. Now please move to the I think the page number 8, which talks about the consolidated financial performance. So if you look at, as I already told you that the year has been very, very robust. So if you look at commission and fee income in totality, up by 59.5%. So our top line on commission side has gone up from 277 crore to 442 crore. Within that, mutual fund revenue has gone up from 231 crore to 380 crore, which is a growth of 64.4%. Our total revenue from operations, which includes mutual fund, insurance, stockbroking and other products, all put together has been at 450 crore, which was also up by 57%. If you look at the top line grew by 57%, but the expenses, which is operating expenses, grew by only 49.4%, which has resulted into a significant operating leverage for us. So our operating profit has grown from 61 crore to 151 crore, which was a jump of 86.2%. I think one point I wanted to highlight here, which is related to depreciation. So if you look at FY21 से FY22 के बीच के अंदर, depreciation has gone up significantly by about 5.5 crore. I just wanted to say that when we paid 151 crore for acquiring the Karvi assets, that 151 crore has been capitalized as an intangible asset in the balance sheet. So that's an explanation to one line item of balance sheet, which uses the word intangible assets. Second point is this entire 151 crore will be written off in straight line method over a period of next 10 years in the balance sheet, which will have some impact on the depreciation side. So if you add that amount, if you look at the cash profit of Prudent, so profit after tax is 80.3 crore and cash profit after tax is 93.7 crore. So almost 12%, right? I think almost about 18-19% is the additional revenue comes in case of cash profit, and because this 15 crore write-off will happen every year for next 10 years, hence probably from the analyst point of view, we always request all of you guys to look at our cash profit rather than profit after tax, because these are the funds which is going to be available for the purpose. It's a cash generation which will happen over a period of next 10 years, about 15 crore every year. So because of that, if you look at our EPS, which was 19.4 and cash EPS is about 22.6, and because profit has gone up by 77%, our cash profit per share and the earnings per share both has gone up by almost 77%. Another important point which I already told you, that our return on equity has grown significantly from 28.7% to 33.8%. So I'm not touching basic Q-on-Q numbers, which we might cover in the question answers. So now I'll just want you to go straight to page number 11, which gives you an idea about Prudent as an organization. So I think the important highlight as far as page number 11 is that consciously, if you look at the history of Prudent, we ourselves has established ourselves as a pure mutual fund distributors. And if you look at last couple of years, we started moving from a pure mutual fund distribution play to a multi-product distribution entity. And because of that, if you look at in FY19, our insurance revenue was only 0.2% in our total kitty, which has moved to 8.19% in FY22. So that's why we took two numbers, March 19 and March 22, to highlight that insurance was not significant before 3 years, has become at least higher single digits. We believe that insurance has a lower base. We have a very strong visibility there. I think the number of points of sales are increasing very fast. So that all put together, we have a significant visibility of insurance to grow very high in our system still. But we feel that mutual fund is also going to continue to grow at a very higher pace. I take you to look at now page number 12, which is slide number 12, which talks about key financials of the organization. So if you look at, because of the growing base, our EBITDA margin has been growing consistently. So it moved. So these are the data of 4 years we have provided from FY19 to FY22. If you look at, our EBITDA has moved from 17% to 25%. उसके नीचे अगर आप देखोगे cost to income ratio, actually this is the data which we took for expenses without the commission, because commission is a pure variable expense with us. So if your top line will increase, probably in the same percentage, commission will also increase. So what is important for us to look at is how are you managing your non brokerage expenses, right? So this is the ratio which talks about my expense without commission fee divided by total revenue from operations, and that is where the operating leverage has started playing in our favor, and we believe that that will continue to help us over a period of time. So which was about 26% was our cost to income ratio, has came down to close to 20% in FY22. I think if you look at commission and fee income, it is also growing at a steady pace of 27.1%. And most heartening point is the cash flow from operation. So this year we generated 89 crore cash flow from the operation, which is growing at a 93% CAGR in last 4 years. I think this is a very, very important parameter for us. So this was mainly about the key financials. I'll now take you to a page number 15, which broadly talks about how should we look at Prudent as an organization, और हमारे differentiating factors क्या है, how should we look at Prudent within the entire wealth management piece. तो मैं छोटा सा आपको background देना चाहूँगा कि today if you look at entire wealth management industry, the model which people follow is the relationship management model, right? Where people hire the employees and employee manages the customer relationships, and the employees are always on a fixed cost, which is very, very high, and variable would be based on the performance. So that is one business model. While another business model where we are probably, I can tell you, in the listed space, nobody is there. In the country, we are the second biggest, and this is a very unique positioning for us, which is the aligning our interests with retail mutual fund distributors with whom we work on the revenue sharing model, and they are the entrepreneurs, right? Because we do not have any kind of fixed commitment with them. You share the revenue with them based on the business mobilized by them. If I give the comparison of this business model, which is, we call it as a B2B2C, which is business to business to customer, globally there is a very prominent model called the broker-dealer network, where the small IFAs or small mutual fund distributors get aligned their interests with the larger players who take care of all activity other than the customer advisory role, right? So the same role which is being played by the Prudent in the country today, and we are very, very large in that segment. I can just tell you a couple of differentiating factors between the employee model and the employer model and the entrepreneurship model would be, say in case of entrepreneurship, you do not carry significant fixed cost pressure. It is a pure variable model. Second is, these are the people who are self-motivated because they own the customer, they own the businesses, right? So they are continuously driven on themselves. We definitely drive them. हम भी उनको business को drive करते हैं, but they are the self-motivated people. And once you reach a particular threshold, you continue to do the business on your own. Another important thing would be, in case of the MFDs, compliance is also on the shoulder of them because they are the people who take care of customer relationships. So there are a lot of different factors, but this is a unique point which I would like to talk about the Prudent. Second would be, I think it's a business which is very, very asset light and we generate cash significantly. So if you look at the business, हमें investment करने की जरूरत कहाँ पड़ती है to create the branch infrastructure and create the digital infrastructure. And today when I am talking about, Prudent has the setup of about 111 branches across country, and we already created a very large quality platform on the digital side called the Fund Bazaar, Policy World, White Basket, Credit Basket. So n number of platforms has been created. So as far as the creating digital and the physical infrastructure is concerned, we have invested everything which is required to be done. What is going to happen now is incrementally we might require to invest very, very small amount, but whatever we generate from the system is going to be available to us as a cash. And third important parameter is probably our entire business is apart from partners, it is driven by innovation in the technology, and we wanted to provide one-stop shop solution to our MFDs for their customers. So I think these are the differentiating factors of the Prudent. On the back of this, let me just take you to page number 16. So I think this is a very, very important slide, sir, because this is say in case of a mutual fund, if you understand, we receive the trail income which is on a consistently you get the trail on the daily average AUM. अगर आज मेरा AUM 50,000 crore का है तो मुझे उसका 1% for example 1% trail मिल रहा है divided 365 days. So I earn revenue on a daily AUM. So if you look at the left hand side, what we have done, if you look at FY22, मैंने पूरे साल के अंदर जो AUM जो मेरा था average which was 39,847 crore, जिसके ऊपर मुझे revenue मिला हुआ है, against the 39,847 crore of average, if you look at my closing AUM which was 49,473 crore, that means लास्ट ईयर का एवरेज रेवेन्यू है मेरा 39,800 करोड़ का. When comes to 1st April, I start my year with 124.15% higher than the average. So 24.15% higher than last year's average. So when you start the year, you already start with a higher base, wherein if everything remains constant, your top line is likely to grow up by 24% only because of this number. So that was one important point I wanted to highlight. You look at the slide number 17, which actually talks about how the AUM get constructed over a period of time. So if you look at, this is the data which we have taken only for the equity purpose. So equity AUM के अगर मैं आपको बात करता हूँ तो last year हमारा equity AUM था 27,000 करोड़ रुपया. We ended the year with 45,800 crore rupees. So there are three components of this growth in AUM. One is net sales, which has happened during the year, which is about 5,000 crore, which is 18.7% of my last year's closing AUM. Then 6,356 crore, which is the mark-to-market gain, which is 23.5% of my last year AUM. And we got the inorganic acquisition, so the Karvy has also supported us. So अगर 7,300 crore का Karvy अगर ना भी अगर लो तो भी we have a very strong organic growth, and fortunately we could be able to utilize the cash for acquiring Karvy. So all put together has supported us in the robust growth in the last year. I think I'll take you to slide number 18, which talks about how our AUM is growing, which is supported by a strong SIP book. I just wanted to highlight one point which says that Prudent's का equity AUM regularly in the total AUM बढ़ रहा है. Apart from that, if you look at the chart which says that our share in the industry's equity AUM was 1.5%, 18 has moved to 2.32%. One important point I want to just tell here, we always talk about lot of noise and we always talk about the fintech platform getting a lot of momentum, right? So in spite of there being a lot of noise around the fintech platform, Prudent is able to capitalize on that growth momentum, and Prudent is able to capture a larger and larger market share over a period. They just wanted to highlight that point. So I think I'll now take you to page number 19, which talks about the granularity of the business. अगर पूरा business अगर Prudent का आप देखो तो बहुत retail है, so which is I think very very strong and unique model. So one important point I want you to look at is the SIP AUM as a percentage of total equity AUM. SIP AUM माने मेरा जो 100 रुपये का AUM है उसमें 1,000, 2,000 रुपये की SIP से कितना AUM बना हुआ है, and that number if you look at in March 22, out of our 100 rupees SIP, 100 rupees of total AUM, 41.9% AUM is built up through SIP, which shows very very strong retail strength. If you look at the उसके नीचे वाला अगर चार्ट देखोगे तो बता रहा है कि within the total gross inflow, what is the contribution of SIP? Now this number is very very important, which if you look at FY7, 18, 19, 20 and 21 के अंदर 19, 20 और 21 के अंदर हमारे ग्रॉस इनफ्लो के अंदर ऑलमोस्ट 50% कंट्रीब्यूशन हैज केम फ्रॉम एसआईपी. तो अगर समझ लीजिए कि मैंने FY20 के अंदर फॉर एग्जांपल 5,000 करोड़ का ग्रॉस सेल्स किया था, उसमें से 2,500 करोड़ मेरा एसआईपी से आया हुआ था. सो जस्ट वांटेड टू हाईलाइट दैट एसआईपी गिव्स लॉट ऑफ स्टेडीनेस एंड द विजिबिलिटी ऑफ द ग्रोथ. Last year SIP number in contribution has came down to 32%. That shows that in FY22 apart from SIP we also got a lot of lump sum participation. Money single amount. अगर एक किसी का 2,000 का SIP चल रहा है, he might have invested 1 lakh rupees, 2 lakh rupees also, right? So absolute number of SIP has gone up, but participation on the lump side has also been very very strong. So another two chart which talks about how our SIP number has gone from 8 lakhs to 16 lakhs, which is about 20% CAGR. How my SIP book has grown, right? From 205 crore to 418 crore. There also if you look at my share, which has gone up from 2.9% to 3.4%. It is another number to validate that in spite of there being a lot of noise around the fintech platforms and directs, we are able to grow very significantly. So that is about the, I think if you look at the page number 20, I think this is basically about the growing number of mutual fund distributors in our system. I think this is very very important because this is the backbone, this is the very very strong pillar of our growth. And if you look at, I think the mutual fund distributors of the country are showing significant trust to us. अगर आप चार्ट देखेंगे तो if you look at last 2 years, March 20 and March 21 and March 20 to 21, 21 to 22, in last 2 years alone we got almost about 10,000 people. So post pandemic, a lot of people has joined the platform. So large number of people shown the interest also, large number of people have joined the platform also. If you look at the right hand side of the chart, upper chart says that how many people are less than 2 years, how many people have joined between 2 to 5 years and above 5 years. So if you look at first row, 50% people, almost 45% people has joined Prudent network in last 2 years. So they are still going to become stronger over a period of time. So total AUM in the March 22 के अंदर there are 10,000 people who have joined in last 2 years, but their AUM is only 11%. But if you look at their contribution in new business, is significantly higher. So the new business, they contribute 15 and 17%, AUM is only 11%. So we feel this is a very strong tailwind which is going to support us in the growth going forward. नीचे वाला चार्ट बता रहा है कि what is the concentration of partners in our system, and that if you look at my top 50 partners or top 100 partners, so top 50 do not contribute even 9% for us, or top 100 partners do not contribute even 13.84% for us, right? So the concentration risk is very, very low. So I think this is all about the Prudent. I think I just come to the last slide, which is the slide number 21, which talks about finally, if you look at the road ahead and what is the growth momentum, what are the levers of growth. It is not related to any forward-looking statement, but I think because this is a business which is purely a recurring trail-driven model where you can have a lot of such. See, ये business के अंदर you can definitely look at how my revenue is going to scale over a period of time. How am I going to scale up my business also? Gross inflow भी मेरा कहाँ से आएगा? So there are 4-5 points I wanted to say which will help us in consolidating our position and generating significant top line as well as bottom line. So first point which I already explained you कि हमारा जो opening AUM है 49,473 crore का as on 1st April is 124.15%, which is 24.15% higher than last year's average. That is going to help in our top line by same percentage if everything remains constant. Second is my book. So that gives me strong visibility of my inflow in next 1 year between April 2022 to March 2023, which is going to be almost 10% of my opening AUM. So मेरा opening AUM था 49,000 crore का. If my SIP inflow is going to be 5,000 crore, it is almost about 10%. Third important point is, as I explained, we are moving from a single product to a multi-product with the help of 23,763 distributors. We will be able to achieve our scale over a period of time, and they will definitely help significantly in the cross-selling opportunities. Fourth point is, I already explained you, in last 2 years, we got almost about 10,000 people who have joined us. If you look at in last 5 years, we got almost 75% people have joined us. और उनका ये अगर देखोगे तो सिर्फ 36% है. So very strong tailwind has been created by us who has joined the Prudent bandwagon, and I'm sure they will definitely start contributing significantly over a period of time. And last but not least, it's a company which generates significant cash. Last year हमारे पास एक अच्छी opportunity आई थी, and we could be able to capitalize that on acquisition of a Carving. Going forward, we believe we'll continue to generate significant cash, which will open a door for us for inorganic opportunity and reward the shareholders. So thank you very much. With this, I'll just open the floor for Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to withdraw yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Our first question is from the line of Shivani Singh from Wisdom Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yeah, audible. Yeah.
Hello. Congratulations for your good set of numbers. So I have 2 questions. My first question is, can you tell me the commission structure for MDF? How is it structured? And we have quite young MDF. So would that increase over time once they extend our relationships?
Yeah, Shirish, can you address it?
Basically, commission structures are not based on the vintage with the company. It is based on the assets or the AUM with the company. So last 10 years, we are following this kind of model. As and when the channel partners AUM increases, his share of the commission also increases. So it is not going to change substantially when their share with us increases. At the same time, we keep on adding more and more distributors on an ongoing basis. So those who are starting up fresh, obviously their share is lower. But as you asked the question that whether the recent addition of the sub-brokers over a period of time will add the commission share, I think my answer would be no.
Okay. Thank you for answering this. And my second question is, So post this, I want to know what is the roadmap we have going ahead. As we generate cash, how we plan to utilize it, and how we are going to invest it.
So actually, if you look at the cash was available till last year has been used by us effectively in acquiring the Carvi. So probably we believe that this is an industry which is growing rapidly. But with this rapid growth, I think consolidation is probably visible, and we would like to keep that cash as a strong, instrument for us to do some kind of acquisition. So probably we'll give a year or two, at least 2 years for us to explore some quality opportunity. Otherwise, we'll go to the board for finding the solution.
Okay. Thank you for answering the question.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Lalit Dio with Equirus Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So, sir, my first question was on, sir, we have been recently reading about some news flows about front running in the mutual fund industry. So, have we seen any impact on the recent inflows which we are garnering?
I couldn't understand the question properly. Can you please repeat it again?
So, sir, we have been reading news about the front running one of the mutual funds. So there was some bit of negativity towards the industry. So, are we seeing any impact of that in the mutual fund inflows which we are getting in the month of April and May?
I can talk about our business, not about the industry. If you look at our business, we have not seen any impact because of all this news. Of course, these are the newsline headlines you can talk about. Various AMCs where I think the news were up there in the market, they already have clarified. If I look at our number in last 2 months, the net sales number are better. So I don't think that there is any impact about the negative news flows coming in the industry.
Sure, sir. And sir, again, so in the first quarter, the NFOs are not being, as we understand that there are limited, no NFOs. So how do we see projects like the gross or net fund flows for FY23?
Right. Gross and net flows, as I said, I think if I heard your question right, because some disturbances there in the audio.
Saying that because in the first quarter NFOs are not there, will you see any impact on the business because of non-NFOs?
So NFOs, if you talk about last financial year, there were many NFOs that had supported the industry in terms of gross flows as well as some part of net flows also. In our business, the contribution of NFOs in the total gross sales, we believe is the lesser than the industry share in the gross flows. So, हमारा उतना focus नहीं रहता है on the NFO side. Having said that, last 3 months or last 2 months NFOs were not there. Because of that, whether the business was down, probably no. If I compare our business with the first quarter of FY22. Last 2 months, I would say it's better than in terms of gross flows as well as on the net flows also. So, yes, NFOs many a times make some impact on the sentiment side or some kind of activities are happening at the ground. So that actually helps to activate our channel, but there is no specific impact of not having NFOs in last 2-3 months. But starting July, we believe that there are few NFOs lined up. So if at all anything is missed in first quarter, probably that would be recovered in the next quarter.
Sure, sir. And sir, given that the markets have remained volatile in the last 2 months, so are we seeing any risk to the SIP inflows, or how are we reading about the SIP inflows?
In spite of market being volatile in last 2-3 months, our SIP inflows are positive. On the net book side also, we are growing. So even SIP book as of March and as of now, I think the book is growing. So as of now, in last 2-3 months, because of the market volatility, we have not seen any impact on the SIP flows. That over a period of market cycles, many more and more investors are becoming mature. So assuming that this kind of volatility is there for a few months or few quarters, probably that might not impact the SIP flows. But if this continues for a longer time, then probably we may see some kind of pressure on the SIP flows. But at least is not impacting the SIP flows. Matured now.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Rohan Mandora from Equirus Securities. Please go ahead.
Sir, thanks for the opportunity. Sir, on the in your introductory remark, you alluded to a clawback from the Prudent in the month of November. So if you can quantify the amount of clawback and what is the net impact on the PBT level because of that?
So, Rohan, if you look at, I think it's an approximate number, which I can tell you that about 3.4 crore is the top line which has been clawed back by the MC, either in the month of March or in the month of April. And against that, in November, we paid 97 lakhs to the channel partners who were related to, which was related to the Carving business. That also we recovered from those channel partners. So if you look at top line impact is about 3.4 crore and bottom line impact is about 2.4 crore in the month of March, in the month of JFM. So actually, if you look at when you want to compare Q3 and Q4, I think the impact on the top line would be 3.4 crore into 2. बिकॉज आपके अगले क्वार्टर में 3.4 करोड़ प्लस था और ये क्वार्टर में माइनस हुआ है, यहाँ पर प्लस करना पड़ेगा, अगले क्वार्टर में माइनस करना पड़ेगा. सो इट्स एक्चुअली अ 7% impact because last quarter top line was 107 crore. Against that, if you look at the 7 crore input is almost about 7%. So that's a one-time impact. So the bottom line is impacted by 2.4 crore, top line impacted by 3.4 crore. That's a one-time impact. So if you look at on the totality, I think the balance is impacted by 3.5% on the 80 crore balance sheet, on the 80 crore per P&L.
And sir, in terms of the business, the AUM mix which is currently originated in-house, what would be that mix out of the total 49,000 odd crores of AUM from the employees?
I didn't got it.
So the AUM which is originated by not by the MFDs but by the employees, which earlier was around high single digits of the AUM. So where would that mix be now as of FY22 end?
Which?
I would say almost 8% currently is contributed by B2C channel and 92% is contributed by the B2B business.
Okay, because Carvey had a relatively higher share of B2C, direct to customer. So,
right.
So despite that, it has fallen to 8%?
Yeah. Earlier we were around 9.5% in B2C. As you said that Carvey had a bigger share of B2C. Combined right now is almost 8% in B2C and 92 in B2B.
Sure, sir. Sure. And so just lastly, wanted to understand the RM bandwidth that we have. Now, how is it split between, say, servicing the MFDs of greater than 2-year vintage, originating new MFDs, and maybe servicing the new vintages which are having, with new MFDs who are having vintage below 2 years? How should we look at that in terms of the capacity which is available and activity that can flow in from that segment of the less than 2 years MFDs?
So as a trend, we believe that few things are happening because of this online adoption. The bandwidth of RM has increased. Earlier, everything was used to be manual. The physical meeting used to be there. The number of transactions which used to happen in the mutual fund were more on a physical side. Yes, two things have happened. One, a majority of the mutual fund transactions have moved to online. So the servicing requirement at the branch level has now done. Bandwidth available is more. Second is earlier the communication or the distributor meeting or the channel partner meeting used to be only physical mode. Now because of various online modes available, acceptability of online meeting modules, the bandwidth of RM also has increased so that one single RM can handle more and more distributors now. The second question what you asked is that how would the bandwidth be spent between servicing the existing as well as the new one. Irrespective of the market condition, every year there is always a focus of adding over KT. All our RMs are having a KRA to recruit also the new distributors every year. So that focus always remains. So servicing is one part, but partner acquisition or the channel partner, it remains our primary KRA as well.
Sure. And lastly, if you could share the data giving question, what is the split of trade payables and receivables across businesses as of March?
Yeah, Chirag, trade payable receivable, right? I think I'll just Chirag go try to address that. Yeah.
Sure.
So, with regard to trade receivable, so the total amount was 93.75 crore. Out of that, 43.36 crore is that pertains to mutual fund business. So outstanding from AMC is at 43.19 crore, and rest of the amount, we can say balance amount is receivable from stockbroking clients. So as you are aware, this is a consolidated number, and Prudent Corporate, Prudent Broking, and Gennex is the component. So majority is mota moti the number is from Prudent Corporate and Prudent Broking. And with regard to trade payable, total outstanding is 120.56 crore. So out of that, 44.76 crore is payment to IFAs and other vendors, and 75.67 crore pertains to the stockbroking clients, that is payable to the stockbroking clients who are trading on daily basis.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Neha Sharma from Pearl Global. Please go ahead.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah. Yeah, Neha.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity, sir. So my question is, what would be a steady state number of EBITDA margin, as we have seen our margins have expanded this year? So can you throw some light on that? That would be very helpful.
So your question is, what is the EBITDA margin, or how much EBITDA margin are we going to sustain? That is the question?
Yes.
So if you look at, I think the overall, I think the EBITDA margin, because the EBITDA in, I think my belief
तुम्ही
is
ज्या
that
व्यक्तीशी
operating
बोलत आहात त्याने तुमच्या कॉलला होल्डवर ठेवला आहे. कृपया लाईनवरच राहा. The person you are speaking.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry, I think somebody got, okay. So I'm just saying that I think virtually we believe that operating leverage is going to play out in our favor. I'll just give you one example. I already told you that if you look at my March AUM and the SIP book, I assume that even if you assume the same number to remain constant, my top line can grow by about 25 to 30% in that range. While we already completed our FY22 review, and the total salary bill is likely to grow up by about 11.75% to 12%. So that also gives you an indication that top line might grow at a healthy pace, while the operating it. So if you look at the major cost component in our business is the employee cost, and then all other administration costs which are related to rent and others, which is a very, very small, and that doesn't likely to grow more than 5-7% or 8% probably. So overall, I believe that the operating leverage will continue to play out in our favor, and hence EBITDA margin will continue to improve. At least the near term visibility is very, very clear.
Okay. And so, do you think that this margins is sustainable, or is there any further scope of expansion?
So near term, I believe that margin is sustainable. I think because it's virtually because if you look at it's an industry which is growing at a rapid pace. So your call has to be: do you believe that the industry will grow at a higher double digit over a period of next 5 years? That is number one. And number two is, within that, what is the potential scalability which we have without spending a lot of money on the infrastructure as well as on the operating side? So I think second question, I'm very clear that I already addressed. We created a lot of infrastructure on digital side, physical side. We have the quality in-house team who is handling the customer servicing, MFD servicing, and so all that part is very, very steady. वहाँ पर मुझे बहुत खर्चा करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. On the top line, if you look at the industry estimates, we believe industry is likely to grow at a very, very rapid pace. Within the industry, we have grown significantly at a better pace. If you look at any period of Prudent growth, we have significantly we have shown our capacity to grow at a rate better than the industry. So growth potential अच्छा लग रहा है मुझे on the mutual fund distribution side. On the insurance side, we feel that potentially we are feeling that the significant growth trajectory is still visible. So if दो चीजें अगर combine करेंगे तो top line का visibility अच्छा है. I think operating costs would remain controlled.
To add one more point, we would like to say that last few years our focus on adding multiple product has increased. Now, as Sanjay Bhai already said that infrastructure is ready at the ground level, 111 branches, the back office support and everything is ready. 23,000 plus CRN holders are working with us. Now, when we add any new product, the additional cost incurred in launching a new product is very, very less. So whatever we get as a business or the margin, it adds to our net margin only. So with that logic also, we believe that operating margin or operating leverage may sustain or improve.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Anshuman Dev from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. My question was regarding the employee cost. So this has jumped this year for many reasons. Obviously, we have grown also. But if you can just give us some guidance on the way ahead for employee cost and also in terms of the number of employees which are there in various business divisions, in the sense that when we expect going ahead operating leverage to play out, this number has to be more or less stable or not grow at that rate, because this is the main item of cost. So if you could just spend some discussion on the employee cost, it will be really helpful. Thank you.
Suresh?
So if you look at employee cost, our major employee cost comes by way of the sales team. If you look at the cost in last financial year, or rather I would say that last few years, we kept on adding more and more branches and more men. In our IPO presentation, we had shown that in the sales side, last financial year, we added almost 50% of the sales team member. So now we are sitting at such a situation that incremental manpower required for servicing is probably, I would say that very, very negligible. So those who are not contributing to the revenue side, adding that kind of manpower requirement would be very, very insignificant. To cater to our existing set of distributors, there is no need to add any manpower. Whatever manpower we are intending to add in this financial year, that is mainly if we add new branches or if we believe that there is a potential in any branch or any market wherein we, by adding one more manpower, we can get more distributors. So that kind of things are happening. Percentage cost escalation because of the planned manpower growth is really, really very, very less. And as Sanjay Bhai already said that the wage bill addition for this financial year could be in the range of around 11 to 12%. Additional manpower planned, probably the total cost could be in the range of 13 to 14% escalation on the employee cost. As long as we believe that the revenue growth is higher than 13-14%, there is a huge scope for the operating leverage. But again, coming to the same point, employee cost escalation requirement because of adding manpower, because of the growth is very, very low.
Thanks. Just to follow up on that, in the sense that apart from this sales force, as in people, as in your employees who are catering to the CRN holders, apart from that, the internet properties, etc., would have very little employee cost involved with them, right?
Current infrastructure can cater to the increased business volume as well. So assuming a normal growth, what we are talking about 20, 30, 40% growth in the volume, we don't require to add any manpower in the servicing side. Tomorrow, assuming that the volume becomes 2 times, 3 times, probably that time we might have to add 10%, 20% of the manpower. But in the normal business situation, as we said that the servicing staff or the servicing manpower, apart from those who are in sales, very, very insignificant.
Right, and you said it was like 13% kind of growth in employee cost, which you feel can happen.
Yeah, person can happen in this year.
Understood, sir. Thank you. Thank you. That will be it.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question, then press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. A reminder to the participants, if you would like to ask a question, then please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. Our next question is from the line of Akshay J from Exponent. Please go ahead. Akshay, you can proceed with your question.
Can you hear me? Am I audible now?
Yes. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for the opportunity. So I want to understand a little bit of a long-term trend here. So if you, let's say, look at FY17-18, your revenue as a percentage of your AUM, how has it changed only on the mutual fund business or equity part of the mutual fund business? Let me be more specific. Compared to, let's say, FY22, how has it evolved? How much has it grown or stayed flat? Would be great to hear some trends on it.
So basically, I think these two periods are not comparable. Two reasons I would say. Till FY19, that is October, to be specific, October 2018, there was an upfront revenue in the mutual funds. So whatever business we used to do during that time, we used to get the upfront revenue as well. Secondly, from April 2019, there was a TER cut in the industry on the entire book. If you look at the total commission had come down by almost 15-16 basis points. That is the reason, even if you look at total revenue growth in 19 and 20, probably you might see that gross revenue growth was not there, mainly because there was a cut in the TER and hence the brokerage was reduced on the book. And second is, earlier the upfront revenue was in 2019 and 2020, there was an adjustment. But when we say that, including, let us hypothetically assume that during those days there was two components of the commission, that was upfront and a trail, and now only there is one component, that is a trail. But when you generalize or when you say that my average assets are, let us hypothetically assume around 3 years of the industry is having, probably as a trend I would say that upfront plus trail में 3 साल का जो total commission मिलता था उसके आज की time में 3 साल का commission is little better or equal. So it has not come down in last 2-3 years, rather it has gone up.
So Shirish bhai, if you could say regime change के बाद how has it changed? So let's say regime change happened in X months. So from the quarter after that to now, how has it changed? Has it expanded?
Basically, from 2019 onwards, if you now compare it after 2019, how the yield has moved up, there are 2-3 things I would attribute towards that. Obviously, as we all know that with higher or increase in size of the scheme, the commission reduces or the chargeability to the scheme also comes down by the AMCs as well. And hence the commission comes down. But this is the ongoing process that every month AMCs will reduce, assuming that the scheme size goes up, the TER ratio comes down and hence the commission level on the scheme may come down. So from April 2019 onwards, every month the new business, whatever we are doing a new business, is already priced in. So it is not like that with the change in the size of the scheme, my further commission will go down. It is not happening because whatever business we have done, it is not getting impacted. Whatever new business we will do, that would be based on the new commission, what the AMCs is announcing now. If I look at the trend in last 3 years, probably the trend is still stable. I won't see that the trend has come down. 2 reasons, again I would say, because many old assets which were there prior 2019 where the upfronts were taken, On those assets, the trail commissions receivable were lower. Rather, I would say that last 2-3 years, whatever money has moved out and come in, the commission chargeability on those assets has gone up. So, upfront का नुकसान हुआ, the trail repricing, I would say that because of the churning that has had to increase the yield. So net in last 2-3 years, I think the yield on the asset is mota moti the same, that there is no difference. Incrementally also, we don't see there would be a major change. As I said that every month the yield is adjusted because the new business is happening on the new, I would say, rate only. Look at the trend, even if you look at my last year's business also, so almost you can say that 25% of our AUM, whatever is the AUM end of the year or the beginning of the year, 25% by way of the new business. So last year का पूरा साल का हम business या AUM लेते हैं, उसमें 25% तो हमारा नया pricing के ऊपर आ ही चुका है. So this is the ongoing process. We don't see there would be a major impact on the yield side. But having said that, going forward, we don't see that the gross yield might improve. So the gross yield might not improve on the mutual fund side. But when you look at Prudent as a consolidated level, because of our focus on other products, because of the cross-selling opportunities, what we are looking at, of course, the yield on the Prudent's total portfolio might go up, but not on the mutual fund portfolio.
Sure. Just as a small clarification. So let's say if I invest 1 crore rupee in 2019, when the scheme has a certain expense ratio, the commission percentage is decided at that point, and then irrespective of the TER of the scheme, the commission gets fixed as a basis of that 1 crore AUM growth, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. So prior to 2019, if you would have invested, there was a cut at the industry level because of the change in the guideline. So अगर मैंने 2019 के जनवरी में पैसा लगाया होता तो obviously my rate would have come down. But assuming that your investment has happened in 2020, your investment has happened in 2020, whatever rate AMC has given me on that particular day, that will continue today also.
Okay, and the rate is a percentage of the expense ratio that they charge. Is that correct?
Average AUM, yeah. So there also, I think you have invested 1 crore. Today the value is 1.2 crore. We get the percentage on 1.2 crore. That is the value on the investment.
Yeah, sure. No, so what I was trying to better understand is, let's say I invested 1 crore in 2020 at 1%, and at that time the TER of the scheme was 1%, let's say, of which they were spending a certain X percentage, let's say 50 basis points on distribution for simplicity's sake, right? So that 50 basis points stays constant, right? Or 1% divided by 2 stays constant.
AMCs don't communicate the rate based on the percentage of the TER. AMCs always communicate the rate on the percentage of the investment value or the current value.
Okay, fair.
Linked to their TER. Obviously, their methodology could be, whenever they announce the new rate, their methodology internally could be the percentage costing, but when they announce to the distributor, they announce at a percentage of the business.
Excellent. Thanks, that's very helpful. Good luck with the business going forward.
Thank you. As there are no further questions from the participants, I now hand the conference over to the management from Prudent Corporate Advisory Services Limited for closing comments.
Thank you very much. I think I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of the entire management team who is part of this call, for all the participants and all the research analysts who have been part of this call. Any additional information which you require any point of time, I think the number of paths has been provided, or you can reach out to the vacancies for that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. On behalf of Prudent Corporate Advisory Services Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.